Hey internets, it's Rev. Tonight we talk about some things that we talked about last year. Devs aren't getting paid, but it might be getting better, and an interview with indie game musician Kevin Ducharme. Open world hack and slash? Yes please, and surge the power couplings to the tachyon array, we're going techno. Grab your mass and baseball bats, it's episode 51 of the Indie Game Riot.
Indie Game Riot!
Hey everybody, it's Josh, and this is episode 51 of the Indie Game Riot Podcast, because we do have a website, indiegameriot.com. One thing I want to remind you all about, you can give us a call on our phone number, leave a message, and we can play it on the show, respond to it, and all that sort of stuff once I see the message that's come through. The number is 717-508-RIOT, 717-508-7468 if you can't spell. Yeah, we got a really good show tonight. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's pretty solid, really good indie games. Today we were if you remember from last episodes, we were supposed to be talking to Nelson from Beta Wave Radio and Games Matter and all that sort of stuff, but he pulled a bait and switch, and gave us Kevin Ducharme, and he is a musician who has just recently broken into the indie game music biz, I guess you could call it. Now, Kevin, what we like to do first is something that has nothing to do with indie games. We just like to do like a short little blurb of what's been going on in our weeks, and as good hosts, we're such good hosts, we're going to let you go first. Anything interesting been going on in your life past week?
I've been offered a lot of good deals and a lot of good projects to work on, and don't know if any of them except one is going to pan out, but
that's all it takes, bro.
Yeah. That's really all it takes, and that's really all it takes in the indie market, is to have an idea and to follow through with it. So, it's been a good week for me. I'm really new at this.
No, it's not a problem. Just follow our leads, and you'll be all right.
You'll be fine. You're already a natural.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, right now I'm working on a game called Harvester RPG, which is due to be out in November, and really excited about it because the music that I've been writing, they really like, and that kind of, that's kind of the point,
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see who's next. Tech. How about your
Me.
Week?
So it's been it was a mostly boring week except for one specific day, and
you're pregnant.
It was, I can't remember what day it was. It was a day where it was hot outside and sunny and annoying, and it was 90 degrees inside the store that I work at.
Well, you got a bunch of ovens.
We've got the 2 ovens and the fryer and a bunch of bodies, and we can't open the doors because
a bunch of bodies. Is that what the pizza's made out of?
People, yeah, basically. And it was 90 degrees, and one of the AC units, one of my bosses went up onto the roof and fixed one of the AC units, and the other one was totally busted. So it was 86 degrees up at the front, and then it was 90 degrees in the back of the store, and it was so slow that day that the best part about being a delivery driver is, when it's hot, you go out in your car, you're sitting down, you're driving, which sucks, but you've got AC, or you can roll the windows down and be comfortable. And it was slow, so I was sitting in the store and I was sweating like a whore in church, and just it was awful. Everyone was mad and goof. Like it was like, Josh, you work in a meat department.
Yeah.
It's cold, like
Well,
that's great.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's extra refrigerated behind our counter because when we have meat out, they don't want it to go bad. And then there's also the cooler, and then the freezer, which is a little bit too
crazy. much. So we've got a cooler and a freezer at the store. It was so hot, you'd walk into the cooler, my whole body
was
steaming.
Yeah, it happens to us, but back in our area, it when it's hot and humid, everything fogs up, and even though it's cooler back there, it feels like you're swimming. Your
glasses and everything.
It feels like you're swimming through life. So it's kind of sucks.
Yeah. Just been playing good games too.
Who hasn't been playing good games?
Yeah,
this is Indie Game Riot, man. Rev, your life sucks. That's why.
You've got a story.
Go ahead.
Well, I almost died a couple of times the other day.
Jeez,
but
how?
Yeah, apparently, I want to say it was Tuesday. Maybe, I don't know. This whole week is just kind of blended together. It was the day of every idiot driver on the road happens to be in my path.
Welcome to my job.
So, like, I'm pulling onto the freeway to head to work one morning, and like, traffic is going a little bit slow, but I'm gonna get up to speed with them, and then I'm going to start jumping lanes over in order to bypass it all, get into the lane that I need to, and I've got plenty of space in the next lane. I'm at speed. I signal. I check. I've got signal. I look forward, and the car directly in front of me has slammed on their brakes, put themselves into reverse, and is now hurtling towards me backwards.
Wait, on the highway?
On the freeway.
That's illegal.
Like, I instantly start moving over as quickly as I can, and it's a rather abrupt cut into the next lane, and I get like 3/4 of the way in, and some asshole from the next lane to the left dives into me, and it was just like, holy shit. So jerk back to the right, jerk back to the left, and it was just like, seriously, you gained a total of 1 car length, you motherfucker.
Why was the person reversing?
Don't know, don't care, not my...
Just in the middle of was there nothing in front of him?
There was just cars that were going the other direction.
I don't understand.
Oh,
no. So I'm sitting there, and I've got that, and my heart's palpitating, and I'm just like, holy God, oh my God, I could have died right there. So I'm 1 lane too far to the right, so I need to get 1 more into the left in order to make my exit, and I've got plenty of room. So I signal, and I start to move over, and this semi-truck that was in the other lane, no signals or anything, just dives into the lane that I am now in, and forces me into the off of the off ramp, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, it was fucking ridiculous. So I almost died, and that was fun.
That's one thing. If I ever moved out to California for whatever reason, that highway.
Josh,
I'm a good driver.
Do you remember the highway at MagFest? All the traffic and crap?
Yeah, but that wasn't that bad.
Well, it wasn't that bad.
I mean, it was a lot of traffic, but that highway in California is literally one of the most dangerous highways in the freaking world. How many pileups happen all the time there? It's just, I don't...
Constant.
Yeah.
Constantly.
So
how about
Josh?
You, Josh?
Well, mine is all Indie Game Riot related. I've got a lot of announcements to make. A lot of changes, and we did this around episode 25. We do a lot of shakeups. After the show, we're going to talk about more things and to shake up with the show, just to keep things fresh. Some things I did though recently. First of all, on IndieGameRiot.com, if you haven't been there yet, go check it out. We have a Hall of Fame section, a Hall of Fame page. I wanted to do that to kind of show appreciation to the people that support Indie Game Riot in whatever way, whether it be Patreon, whether it be just through helping out the site and helping out Indie Game Riot, or other ways, whatever. There's going to be little next to people's names. Basically, I have listed little icons depending on how they're helping us out. And what I'd like to do is, if you're in the Hall of Fame, I'd like to link to something that you would like to be linked to, as long as it's appropriate. Actually, in our no meatspin.com, please.
Yeah. Oh God, don't go there.
Spin. How about leak spin?
No. Actually, one of the people in our live chat right now, Preposter, and if you haven't checked out, I put you in our Hall of Fame. But first of all, because you're someone who's been here almost every single episode since you've joined us. But also because
how do you do that? I don't even do that. Rev doesn't even do that. You've been here more than Rev.
Because and you also are helping us out with a lot of things. Specifically, you're just recently helping us out modding our Steam. So thank you for that, and you are there. And I've linked it to your Twitter, but if you wanted something else, let me know. So Hall of Fame has our supporters, has best moments of. Speaking of, if any fans out there can think, and I know there's plenty of them, more than I have listed there, but can think of a specific time on the show or any Indie Game Riot moment that has been like specifically like stood out as like really funny or a best of moment, let me know so I can link it in that little Hall of Fame section. Right now I have like the different times we went to cons and our anniversary I have linked there. I have all the games that we put in starting the Riot because they should deserve a spot. They're on starting the Riot for a reason. I also have our Riot of the Year listed. So things like that. All of our interviewees, and so Kevin, you're going to be on there, and all of our guest hosts. So
yeah,
that's
cool.
Yeah.
I'm
really excited about it as it gets filled up. Anything that we're forgetting, let us know to put it on there.
Get hype for Indie Game.
Eventually, and I'm thinking maybe adding like the quote, because I always talk about a quote wall because everyone always brings up the stupid things that we say, and maybe putting a quote wall in there somewhere. Yeah. So let us know if you can think of quotes to put on there. We could use help that.
I still think that the even though our slogan is enable the evolution. The fact that only one person in the contest a few episodes ago got it right, and the one that we really like a lot that we use on occasion that isn't the right one got more votes than it, which is saving the world one gamer at a time, which was actually in the chat. I don't remember who said it.
Preposter.
Preposter, and there you go. Funny enough, he was the one who got that one right. Yeah, there's just a lot of. I mean, it's been. This is 51. It's been a long. Yeah. It's been a lot of work. And by the way, just so you know, I know we talk about this on the between the segments a lot, but for those of you who are listening at home, Josh puts in a lot of work into this show that you probably don't understand. Like we're talking email, back-end website stuff, articles, links, just the whole 9 yards. Live streaming it, so send him an email at josh@indiegameriot.com telling him how awesome he is.
Dick pics,
just do
dick pics,
yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
And and the Patreon, like I said, those Patreon supporters, $10 and up is like it's part of like the reward program, so I changed that on there. There's a couple other changes on Patreon, so go to patreon.com/IndieGameRiot if you want to see the changes that we made. Lastly, we're always looking for help. Because like Tech said, I am actually doing a lot and I could really use help. So if you know anyone or if you yourself want to help us with whether it be writing or animating or drawing or anything, any talent that you have, let us know and we can take a look and see if you'll your talents would fit for us. Yeah. And also Prep is modding our Steam page. We could also use mods for Reddit and also the live stream because we can't always pay attention to the chat while we're doing the show.
And just to be clear, because Indie Game Riot is making its money off of podcasting peanuts and a few we're not really in the money right now. We can't
out of the money actually. So.
Yeah, we are out of money. We can't afford to pay for a lot of the work that definitely deserves compensation, but
well that's the thing. If you end up helping us with anything and you stick with it, obviously we can't pay right now, it's all volunteer basis, but who knows in the future as Indie Game Riot grows and ends up starting making money, and I would love to pay people.
Exactly. And just to be completely clear, I've never seen a paycheck from Indie Game Riot. Rev's never seen a paycheck from Indie Game Riot.
We haven't seen a paycheck from anyone except for Patreon supporters. So
yeah, exactly.
And that goes right back into the show. So
we are doing this because we love this and we love you. Right. And Indiegogo, we got some money, but other than that, we're doing this because we love you guys. We love the show. We deeply care about the indie game community as a whole.
Yeah, you know what else I love?
What?
Indie news injections.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an indie news injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
And this week on Indie News Injection, we start out with a quick announcement about Accessibility Game Jam that is currently going on right now. It started May 11th and it goes till June 1st. Now, this is the second time we've talked about Accessibility Jam, which is crazy because I feel like we just talked about it. But it's been a year. There's another one going on. So Accessibility Jam is basically about people designing games with accessibility in mind, cognitive, hearing, vision, motor, or inclusivity accessibility. So, colorblind games, or in Rev's case, completely no color games.
And crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Games where people who don't necessarily have full function of their hands or, complete motor skills would be able to play these games. Games that break down the basically how the most of the world thinks and sees things, designing a game that has ways for people who don't necessarily think the same way that other people do to be able to play and have fun and enjoy games like all of us here. So a lot of games. There have been 19 entries so far as of the recording of this episode.
Have you guys gotten to play any of them yet?
Are we sure that those are from this year's? Because I recognize a couple of those from last year's.
This might be last year's. Kevin,
you guys are talking about something that I'm actually really passionate about because before I started Pain Road Records, I worked for the government finding people with disabled, jobs, called disability jobs, disabled people jobs, whatever, however way you want to phrase it. And there's so many things out there that can make games accessible to everybody, and nobody really takes advantage of them.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay, either you can use an Xbox or a 360 controller or a PlayStation controller, or you can use your keyboard, but yet you have what was it, the N-Gage, the one that was the designed for people that only had one hand.
Oh yeah, I remember that. No, there's all sorts of things on that one.
Yeah, like last year they had a lot of game, like a lot of colorblind games always come out, but then there were a lot of there was an completely audio based game.
That one
this
was
year,
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was so.
Are you sure that these games are from last year? Because I don't recognize any of these, and the ones I remember from last year I don't see.
They go back.
These are last year's.
They go back way before last year's.
Yeah,
because I remember playing Trust and talking about it, because that one was filed under the colorblind section.
So they just didn't update it, I guess.
No, they haven't updated it yet. So you can't see any of the you can't see any of the updated games right now. But this year's theme is, I can't remember what last year's theme was.
Trust.
This year's theme is Trust. So you have to make a game that is more accessible to more people. The rules you have, and it ends very soon. So if you're hearing this now, you've got a few days. Create a game.
No sleep till Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly. Create a game with that theme.
I think the first one that actually acknowledged it was Notch. He made Minecraft available for people that were read green
Deficient.
color line.
And that's a really that's one that messes a lot of people up too, because
It's the most common form of color deficiency.
Yeah, like my uncle who's a cop has that, and it's
funny because he can't tell if people are running red lights.
You can based on their positioning.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not in California. There are some places in California where the stoplights are like sideways, and I was over there in like 2002, and I was looking at them just like, colorblind people must hate this town.
Goes left to right.
Yeah.
You can't get away with it because they want to make their money for the city and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean that's politics versus gaming, but to actually make his game accessible to colorblind people was really a stepstone to a lot of the games nowadays, especially when we're working with things like the Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
Where, you're talking, well, we can look around and see, 180 degrees of the game instead of just the 90 degrees of the game. And you have to make that accessible to everybody. Because, otherwise you're cutting out 15% of your sales, basically.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Exactly. And just as a reminder, and the jams.gamejolt.io/accessibility-jam is where you can find all this information. They have this on their website. As a reminder, the point of this jam isn't to create a bunch of niche games that only a specific subset of people with these differences in ability can play. It's about bringing more people in and applying to a wider audience of gamer. So someone who has the ability to play this game will be able to enjoy it just as much as somebody who doesn't have the normal ability to play a normal game.
Of course, like every game company is going to look at what is their maximum profit.
Yeah.
And, that's the business. That's the way you look at it.
Well, and part of the reason Accessibility Jam happens is because fully 20%, if not more, of the gaming population has some form of disability. I'm a monochromat. I see everything in black, whites, and shades of gray, and so for me, a lot of games just like I can play them, but I'm never going to do well or get far in them. So it's that's just me personally. So, I'm also mostly deaf, so having a game without subtitles that has a lot of spoken word in it, it's pointless to me. So, they're raising awareness about that. Speaking about raising awareness, though, there's a little distributing group called Desura, Desura.com.
Desura is awesome.
Well, possibly.
Not today.
Not today. Yeah, and apparently not for the last 6 months.
I knew about them, but their idea was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know what's been going on with them.
Well, I'm about to fill you in. So Desura was purchased end of last year, I think, somewhere around November, December, by a company called Bad Juju Games, or Bad Juju. And they figured, Desura would be a good platform. They were already working as a publisher and dev group.
God, isn't that ironic there, huh?
Right? So apparently they started running into problems paying the devs that were submitting their games on Desura. In addition to some kind of out there terms, they have you have to have sold at least $500 worth of your game before they'll pay out, but
which seems reasonable.
It can, but at the same time,
I don't know. That's like
Josh, if you really want to go into that, I'll tell you exactly how it works in the
I just
you know,
I just don't
and-
like it because it's like an ad revenue kind of thing. That's what YouTube does. This is like your own product that you've worked
Yeah.
that you should be getting, even if it's pennies. You know what I mean? You
my
get
first album, I was given $100,000 from Elektra Records, and by the time everything was said and done, we ended up owing them $6,000.
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
this
actors
brings
still get a penny in royalties. You know what I mean, from shows. You know, I just don't see. I don't
Well,
agree.
in addition to some things like that, the real reason we're talking about them is starting last December and continuing on until now, a lot of developers haven't been getting paid at all, even when they well exceed that $500 limit. And I came across this actually on a Reddit thread on Indie Gaming.
Yeah, I saw traffic coming in from Reddit. I was like, what? I haven't updated Reddit in forever, but then I saw.
So
It's funny. I found it on Reddit too, but in a different place. So,
but no, it really is kind of a lot of devs have been affected by this, and they haven't been paid for their games since December, and we started reaching out. Sorry, what was that?
Look at the movie Life of Pi.
For
what? The movie Life of Pi, the company that did the graphics for it went bankrupt because they owed so much money at the end.
So I mean, you're saying that's safer for people to, wait until
withhold cash flow so the Desura doesn't go under.
Right.
See, and
But
no, what I'm saying is that the reason that indie games are taking over, I mean, like, think of the past, 4 years. The top games of all time, have been Minecraft and Path of Exile and Faster Than Light and, all these indie game companies, because they just did what they wanted to. They did their project. They didn't have someone telling them, well, you owe us, this much money because we gave you money.
yeah, but see, now Desura owes a lot of devs a lot of capital, but I think that the good thing that came out of this is that Desura, I found out about this on Desura's website. Like they came out and was like, look, this is a problem. This is what's been happening. We're trying to fix this.
Lisa came across the thread on Reddit and made a post and said, "Hey, let me know, and I'll start taking a look into this." And it was. I'm glad that they're making public action. It should have never reached this point.
That's true. It should, and there was
6 months.
And the crazy thing was too is that didn't Xbox Live, Indie, whatever the hell, have this problem like 6 months ago?
but they hopped right on it. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
as soon as
true.
we
They
saw
did.
about it,
Yeah,
they
it was like 2 months.
They put out PR.
It was like, they didn't
like, there's
get
a
paid
lack
for
of
January.
There's a lack of communication here.
And they actually charge up the ass for you just to get on Indie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you want to upgrade your game, well, you know what? You got to pay even more money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've talked about that before. But it is. I do want to give them. I do want to give Lisa and the rest of Bad Juju a props for jumping on this as quickly as they can. Unfortunately, it kind of leaves a fly-by-night taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
And we
seem to have lost Kevin.
But it looks like they're making progress. They're working on implementing automatic payments and stuff like that. And we'll see how that goes.
Kevin, you're right.
Yeah, excuse the awkward camera angles and everything like that, but yeah, it's I don't know. I have my opinions about Desura. I just don't think it's ever been run all that well by anyone as many times as it's been bought and sold. They don't curate enough, which is my biggest problem. There's a ton of games on there. I'm just like, you belong on Game Jolt where people don't have to spend money on it. You know what I mean? Not that Game Jolt is bad, but people are risking their own personal investments, on money and everything like that. So,
yeah.
Do you wanna?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. My dog. There was a bolt of lightning, and my dog bolted and caught the cord from the monitor.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on ahead while you get that situated.
So the next thing, after the Desura thing, we it's kind of a downer with the indie game community. Hopefully, I'll get rectified. One good thing, though, we always talk about how game jams bring out a ton of really good games. There's a game jam hosted on Newgrounds, sponsored by the developers of Construct 2. The developer is I cannot think of the developer. How do you pronounce it? Sierra, I guess. I think, and they make like their own code and everything.
It's Scirra. Right. So Sierra. I would say Sierra.
I would say Sierra, and basically you can get it for
Sierra.
Sierra. All right, there you go. He knows. But basically you can download Construct 2 for free. There is a pro version where you get more features and everything like that, but the free version doesn't limit you all that much. And you can make games without having any knowledge of coding. You just have assets and you plug them in and use. They call them events, which I would assume is like lines of code that make things do other things or whatever you want to say. Not today, but this jam's theme is deception. So what they're looking for to, first of all, if you win, first place gets Xbox One console, an Xbox One game, a Piggy Badger, I think is for the Sierra forums, some stickers from them. You get a business license, which is like their pro thing, and a flying monkey, which I really don't know what that means. How to impress the judges, creativity on the theme, fun gameplay, and originality, and you also get bonus points, I guess, if you can make it touch-enabled to work on mobile games and all that sort of stuff. And it has to be uploaded onto Newgrounds.com with the tags.
Flying monkey is the Newgrounds logo.
Newgrounds logo is a tank man.
Or the other one.
Sierra's logo. Oh, so it's probably a plush.
No. Yes. Shit.
It's probably a plush of some sort, I would imagine. So,
my dog's been hiding under my computer the whole time during a thunderstorm and a bolt of lightning, and he just bolted and just took everything.
No worries.
Not a problem. The when you upload it to newgrounds.com, make sure you tag it with Construct 2 and Deception Jam. That way they can see it and it's part of the contest and all that sort of stuff. But I'm actually messing around with it. I might submit something. I don't know.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm competent in designing and writing, but not programming. So I'm going to try and teach myself with it. Maybe if anyone's interested in helping artists, especially, please feel free. Tech and Rev, of course, if you ever have time. We can make it a fun thing.
If you need
the competition ends June 26th. Sorry about that. What was that?
Said, if you need a musician, as long as you keep my dog away from the cords underneath my computer, I'll be all right.
Yeah, but we're all right now. I think we should move into. Go ahead.
Kevin Ducharme.
Now that you're all set up again.
Yeah. Now that the dog has had its freak out moment and everything is back to normal.
Oh man, that was crazy, man.
Yeah.
I can't believe nothing got broken.
Yeah. So Kevin, you are a indie game musician. You run, is it what was the company that you focus on, indie music production?
Pain Road Studios.
Pain Road Studios. You can also you can check it out, soundcloud.com/PAYNE_road. And let me tell you, I've been playing, instruments since like 2002, 2003, so
Band
a
geek.
long time. And I dabbled in audio production and music production, and I gotta say, a lot of these songs on here are really kicking, dude.
Well, thanks, man. I mean, what I tried to do is create about 40 songs that were all kind of different, that people could pick and choose, and if they liked it, they could use it for their song.
Yeah, I'm gonna play a little bit for you, Reverend Tech. You're not gonna be able to hear it, and Kevin, you're not gonna be able to hear it. But I'm gonna play just like 30 seconds of music.
Clip.
What do you have a favorite one, Tech, that you were listening to?
I really liked that first one, Complexity.
Complexity. All right.
Yeah, the middle of Complexity is just so cool.
All right, I'm gonna start that for 30 seconds.
All right. Right here, I'm feeling some R2D2 beep boop beep boops.
Yeah. So Kevin, before we get into the indie game side of it, where did you start in music? Like, was there an instrument that really drew you to it, or family member?
Yeah, I was a piano virtuoso when I was 4 years old, and was playing Chopin and Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff by the time I was 5, and got to the point where I couldn't find a teacher that could teach me anything more. So I just started writing my own music, and then it evolved into, well, whatever my life had become.
So, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so what kind of drew you to the indie game side of things? I mean, obviously you're an accomplished musician. You're talking about record deals in the past. Obviously you've been a part of the music industry longer than Tech's been alive.
Yeah.
But what really kind of drew you into the indie game side of things?
What drew me in was that, I said it earlier on the show. I don't know if we were taping or not, but, most indie games kind of just go with, hey, who's the best at using Fruity Loops, or who's the best at using acid, or who's the best at using Magic or Cubase or whatever, and they just create these really crappy songs rather than have
Yeah, I've been there.
yeah, and rather than having someone who actually knows how to create really good music and incorporate it into their games.
Oh, cool. So that was kind of the draw for that. Can you tell us about any upcoming projects that you might have coming on that aren't under a NDA?
Well, I mean, before my dog went and wiped out my computer, which was pretty fucking funny, actually. The song that you guys were playing is for Harvester.
Which you were telling us before the show is a JRPG style game currently in development, where you kill a bunch of enemies and you can take attributes of those enemies and put them on your character.
Yeah, it's like a JRPG where mixed with Monster Hunter Tri.
Awesome.
Cool.
And so how long have you been working with them?
Well, 2 days now.
Oh wow. So you're really like quick with the turnaround. Like you're just sort of like, oh yeah, I got this, and you just plug something on the piano, like turn on some mics,
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, like the way that I look at music is kind of the way that every concept artist, every programmer looks at it. It's like, okay, here's the rough draft. Like, this is what I got. And then the producer likes it or they don't. And if they don't, well, then you start from the, beginning and you try something else and be like, well, do you like this? And, I kind of lucked out with that one because they loved that song and it was something I wrote today.
So
Hey, I liked it too. I heard it and I was
really,
just like, wow, yeah.
That's actually really kind of cool.
Yeah, it sounds like you hear all these stories about it's like from Tim Donnelly even talking about his programmer for Boss 101. He's just like, I woke up today and Joshua, my programmer, was basically was just like, hey, that thing that I told you I was gonna do, and he'd be like, yeah, and like, well, it's done. Look at it, and he'd look at it and it's done. It's like, that took 12 hours. And it really is like, I've been, because I've played bass guitar for 10 I can't even remember how many years. It's been it's been a while. Like I've been in multiple different bands, done a lot of different music projects.
I could use a bass guitar player because
I haven't played in like 2 years.
I'm good at piano, guitar, and drums, so
Yeah. And like just hearing the complexity and the, I guess, competency behind a lot of this music is actually really reassuring, because everyone plays a whole lot of games, and you can tell when a game has a really good soundtrack, and you tell when a game has an okay soundtrack, and these are just some, like, I recommend anyone listening out there right now to go to the SoundCloud and just listen to stuff, because it's just like it takes you to a place, and it might be a different place for each person, but it's so cool.
Well, and I think you kind of nailed it there, is that every single one of those songs was created for a reason. Like, they weren't created for, a specific game or a specific genre or a specific anything. It was like, here's what I can do in about 3 hours. And then if you like it, well, then I'll spend the time and I'll put the 20 hours into it.
So I have a question from one of our live stream members. They apparently love the HVT1, and they want to know how someone goes about being able to use your music in a game or something like that. He has an idea for it. So how would someone contact you? How what's your whole thing with people using your music?
HVT1.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was that? Sorry.
It was like the second one on your SoundCloud, the second most recent.
For yesterday.
Yeah, that's just was me just fuck the guitar one.
Kinda. It's got like some like cool like drum beats in it, like real heavy, sort of epic sounding, kind of fast.
Yeah, that's just kind of one
orchestral.
of my, you know, like with Harvester, I'm working on. It's probably going to be about 3 to 4 hours of music. You know, it's going to be a complete soundtrack. A lot of my other ones are just songs that, well, hey, if you like them, I'll develop them for you and sell them to you.
Well, and that's what the question is from our viewer. He's interested in
Maybe purchasing
that song. How would if our friend Preposterone here wanted to utilize one of your tracks? How would he go about? What's your process for that? You want him to just shoot you an email or?
Yeah, you know, I usually sell them for about $50 million a piece, but
but for you, a special price, friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm negotiable.
But,
The best way for him to reach me is to either reach me at painroadstudios.com at Gmail, or to reach me on Twitter at just the pain _ I don't know if you can link it for him.
yeah, pain _ road.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to reach me, because let's face it, you know, I've already been famous and I don't want to be famous anymore. I just want to make a living doing this, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's cool. So, Josh, this is the question that you always ask, but I'm gonna ask it.
Go ahead.
So you said before we even went live that, you know, you're a gamer, you like playing games, especially indie games. What is one of your, you know, most memorable or best experience with the indie game community, like as a whole?
Man, that's a hard question to answer, because I mean, like, man, that's just a hard question to answer. I have been given so many games to play because everyone thinks that I'm a, you know, reviewer or promoter or whatever, rather than a musician. And, you know, like I said earlier, it's like, well, I'm not, you know, I'm a musician, but you got me at, will you play my game?
Yeah. Yeah, that's sort of like the...
So people just contacting you and just wanting you to play the game is probably the best part for you.
Well, and yeah, and I mean, I think I've gotten more promotion out of just playing people's games and kind of giving them an honest review of what I think, you know, about their games. It's like, well, if you want me to write music for this, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, like, Light Rise, I mean, if you guys haven't played that, man, get ready for every fucking finger. Because every single key on your keyboard is a hotkey. But it's fun as shit, you know. And then I've been playing a lot of StarCraft and AdventureCraft, and I mean, I don't even know how many games, you know, because again, I'm a musician, But if you say, hey, play my game, well, why am I going to say no to that?
Yeah. I mean, we don't. Right. But it's like, oh, it's a game, and the greatest part is that there's so many like brilliant minds in the indie scene. It's not just the programmers or the artists, it's the musicians, because there's so many people with this passion and this skill for something that can come into the indie gaming scene. It's not just indie music, which is excuse me, this closed off thing. Like we interviewed so many people at MagFest, and everyone at MagFest was like, the fact that you can have a voice act over here and a programmer over there and an artist all taking what they do best, which is what they've been doing and what they love doing, and making something that's fun for everybody, or at least a lot of people, is just the coolest thing. Yeah.
But Tech, and that's kind of why I started Pain Road Studios, is because like I said earlier, it's usually, hey, who can use Fruity Loops best and make a great song, and there's no indie game music studios, and if they want good music, they're gonna have to pay up the ass for it.
Yeah. I'm a filmmaker, and it's like, oh, you hear a song, and I've gotten really creative with finding stuff royalty free, and there'll be things that are royalty free, and like I'm really into giving people the money that they're worth, but like some of these people ask so much money for things. I'm just like, dude, I just want to use this for a film fest film that I've been working on for the last 24 hours. Like,
exactly. Like, royalty free does not mean you don't have to pay us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all about the love of the indie game and support and all that sort of stuff when it comes to the indie game community. And again, this has been Kevin Ducharme. Thank you for interviewing with us. And up next. Oh, by the way, go check out his SoundCloud, and because the music is great.
Links in the description.
All that sort of stuff.
Thank you for having me, guys.
And not a problem.
Wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a.
Thanks, Nelson.
Wow.
Yeah, Nelson, who was supposed to be on. I think we already talked about that. But you know what?
You know what else? A game that I do love talking about. Love of the game.
What's that?
The game is starting the Riot.
And this week on Starting the Riot, we are taking you to the city of Newton, 2087. Yes, we are talking about Technobabylon, a point-and-click adventure in the vein of the Sierra-style point-and-click adventures. But this one has a story that will just punch you right in the throat and then drag you across the gritty side streets that you didn't want to go on. And oh man,
there's a part, speaking of the story punches you in the throat, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a part of the story where a particular thing gets destroyed. And it made me, I was like, oh no.
Did that make you feel like really like emotional? Because to me
it did.
To me that so we're I guess we should just go right into the story of Technobabylon. There are multiple different there are two different playable characters that you can play as. You can either play as Dr. It was a normal name. Why can't I not? Dr. Charlie Regis or
Max Lau. Max Lau is his partner.
Yeah, Max Lau is the partner. Or Latha Sesame.
There you go. That sounds like magic.
Yeah. Dr. Regis is basically a police officer in this day and age. He's an older guy. And then Latha Sesame is a poor, unemployed girl, basically living off of the state. And the world that they live in is futuristic, and everyone, or almost everybody, is neurally plugged in to central
with something called wetware.
Yeah, wetware, which basically is a biomechanic, computer connection where everybody's connected and everybody, and there's this like virtual world that you, it's called trancing, where it's sort of like a holodeck in Star Trek, where you basically unplug your conscious brain, go into trance, and you can interact with certain technology that wetware has interacted with, and go different places and be whoever you want to be, which is very clear with Sesame.
It's kind of like the settings internet too, because that's how you get in. I mean, there are computers,
Networks.
There's terminals, but you can access the same things. It's almost, if you think about it, with Oculus and everything like that, it's kind of going towards there.
It's kind of going towards there, and it's very dystopic. If you're watching the gameplay or
Very
you're seeing
Big Brother.
anything, you can tell that it's very Big Brother, and there are a lot of different perspectives that are given to you, and lots of puzzles that you have to go through. There was one part that Josh, that Josh was talking about that really irked him. I think that's about an hour into the game. About
Which one?
The part where the thing breaks.
Oh yeah.
And that part for me, I was just like, I shouldn't care about this.
It hurts me.
Focus on my job.
It hurts me.
And this is it's a linear storyline in the sense of the choices that you make determine what happens. So you can make certain chat decisions, talking with specific people, that will change the outcome of certain aspects of the game later. Not necessarily big things that I've seen so far in the game, but just tiny things or Steam achievements, if you're going for that. It's really pushing so many different messages, because from Sesame's perspective, she's basically, from what I've been able to gather, addicted to trancing.
I think it's part of being poor though. Like in this world, if you're poor, it's pretty shitty.
It's really bad.
And by the way, speaking a little off topic, but with this person, what's the name again?
Sesame.
Something Sesame.
Yeah,
it's a weird name.
Latha.
That intro puzzle was difficult.
It was,
but
in fact,
it felt very satisfying once I got through it.
It has, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Sierra style of point and click, it has the similar problems that Sierra point and click games have, of expecting you to make completely outrageous connections, and unfortunately,
I don't know.
Need a cat, a ball of string.
Well, that's almost.
I wouldn't say this is outrageous.
That one wasn't outrageous. There was a point that really bothered me.
You might be farther than I am.
That I'll touch on later. It won't be spoilers. It's only a few hours into the game, but and it'll help because there isn't a tutorial on this particular thing. So the first puzzle, it was like, I had everything that I needed. It was just a matter of like taking the certain steps, because you really have to sort of go against your better judgment of this game, or your better judgment in this game, because there is, I'm not gonna tell you any specific secrets, but there's an email that you have in the first level of the game that like, you just read the email, it's just like there's an attachment, it's like the only attachment that you get on an email, it's like, this is bad, this is gonna give you a virus, you don't want to touch that. And I was just like, okay, I'll touch it. And then I touched it, and it was like nothing bad happened. It was like, all right.
But I mean, in this, I don't think that entire puzzle, like this whole first part with her, it wasn't
ridiculous. You're right.
I would say that some of it was like, like when you figure it out, you're like, okay, I understand. But it wasn't like MacGyver-esque, where you're like,
that's true.
Here's a comb,
and the
a bottle of water,
and
a pizza crust. These things go together to make a lockpick. You know what I mean? Like it's not like that.
It's not like that. And I will say that there are multiple different ways to solve a lot of the puzzles, especially that first one, because I needed help. I was stuck there for a few minutes. I was just like,
suck.
It's like, it's the beginning. I've gotten to a point. No one's telling me any useful information. By the way, completely voice acted.
Yeah.
With subtitles.
With subtitles, yes. So, and I'll get to that later. So I looked up, a written tutorial, and I read the part where it's just like take this, do this, and I'm like, oh, of course I could have done that. I'm dumb. I should have been able to figure that out, and I did it, and then I could figure out the puzzle, and then I went back because I had that tab open later that night. I looked at it and I'm like, oh, this guy did this like completely weird, convoluted way of doing things. Like I did this the most efficient way, and just from what he was like, oh yeah, do this and cut that and it's gonna ask for more, and I was like, oh, I just did this and got this and broke that and I'm out. I
would say that virus though, it was probably the hardest
it was like
aspect of that puzzle.
It really was.
But once I figured out, I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that's also sort of the biggest problem that I have is that it gives you information, but it gives you information contextually from the character's perspective, which works because that's the point of the game, but you sort of lack some of that insight from outside of this world that you're put in.
I think that's just a case of the writers being a little bit
and
more invested in the characters because it's their characters.
Yeah, exactly.
So they just don't really think sometimes, in a way that in a player shoe who's brand new to all of it. But I don't. But there's nothing that's like that's.
Here's what really bothered me. After that, everything was like super straightforward. There was the certain scenes here and there. I answered all the text questions. I ended up. Saving that guy did you get to the subway?
Yeah, no.
Okay. I saved the guy on the subway and really? Oh, okay. And then I went to this
I didn't get that. I mean, I didn't get that far. To be honest, I mean, the last thing that happened to me was actually that
event, that really emotional. Yeah, that happens right after. And then the thing that happens after that, you go into this guy's apartment, and I'm just gonna tell you this right off the bat. You're gonna find a dead body, and a synth maid, and
would you like to just write a walkthrough right now?
No, but here's the thing. So Josh, you know how the game doesn't have a look function, so you can't like inspect items.
Right click.
See, where did they tell you that?
It was a very brief tooltip.
I never saw that tooltip. And for me, right-clicking was taking the thing that I had picked up out of my hand, and there is an item that you have to right-click to inspect in that hotel room, where I'm just like, okay, cool, it's, I attach it to, and then I can access this terminal, right?
And so basically your frustration revolves around the fact that
you're stupid.
They don't have a way to introduce mechanics.
Well, there's only clicking. That's the only mechanic.
Well, right, but in a lot of the old Sierra games, and I'm not saying that the old Sierra games
this
are the
isn't
best
Sierra.
way of doing things. Exactly, but it's modeled after that, and point and click adventure games usually have that sort of you can look at certain things and then interact with certain things, and this was just clicking, which I'm totally fine with. But the fact that right clicking to me was, unclicking something from my hand that I had picked up.
That too.
Which is fine, it worked. Was also inspect something, which I had to inspect because there came up a little text blurb on this when I connected the to it, and it was just like, okay, cool, it's warmer now, that'll work. And then I use it, and it's like it still doesn't work. Like, is the game bugged? And so I had to find a video walkthrough of it, and I skip over to where I needed to go, and I see this page, this like thing pop up, and I'm just like, where the hell is that? And I like go in, I'm looking, it's like, is there a view like item thing? Is there a key? And I'm just like, is it right click? Have I been doing this wrong the whole time? And I right clicked and popped up, and it was just like, oh, this puzzle should have been solved 30 minutes ago. And I think that was your lack of attention to detail. But I think you're being a little bit too. I was being super meticulous in this game because it really forces you to do that. It's really fun. It's just that one thing really frustrated me because they didn't like. So the first level,
So,
which is also Sorry, go ahead.
We're
I know I'm
getting
rambling.
off
You're right.
We're getting off into ramble
It's
land.
very, very good game. It's a very good game.
It is released. It is live at the moment. You can purchase it at GOG.com. You can purchase it on Steam. You can purchase it through. I think they're offering it through.
Released
Humble
yesterday at the
Store.
time of this recording, the 21st.
Yeah, released yesterday as the time of this recording. It is $14.99.
You can also. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You can also download.
You can also interrupt
demo,
people.
On www.wadjetigames. Oh, what happened to my voice?
Wadjet.
Wadjetigames.com.
It is unfortunately Windows only. So Mac and Linux, you guys are out
Suck it.
unless you VM it. But it was published. It's published by Wadjet Games, and it was developed by Technocrat Games. And I haven't been able to find info on them, but props to you guys. Honestly, from what I've seen of this game and what I've read on it, I'm really excited for this kind of. It seems like it's almost a perfect throwback to Android's Dream of Electric Sheep.
You know what I'm noticing?
What?
Okay, so there's these like trends in indie games recently, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, it was like the Minecraft survival, and then it was like top-down isometrics, and then roguelikes.
And now we're to point and clicks again.
And now there's like this huge resurgence of point and click adventures just this year. Yeah. And they're really good too.
They are really good.
There's
and
a ton
we
of
even
them.
saw some of them at MacFest.
Yeah, so I don't know. I love point and click. So
there was, I mean, there are a few like weird things about this game just to keep in mind. If you don't like, I guess, mature themes that really make you feel, you might want to look away. It runs in a very strange resolution that you can't change. And I mean, I get it. It's the style. But you know, that's also a thing. There's weird mouse acceleration, like really weird mouse acceleration. Like it's like my mouse feels really weird, and I like jiggled it a little bit, and as I was jiggling it more and more, it was going crazy. Which felt really odd in a point and click game. But I mean, you know, whatever, I could look past that. And then there was one thing, and it's about the voice acting, and I'm really picky about voice acting. And it's nothing about the voice actors. it's really the writing and the scripts that they were given. The scene that Josh ended up not seeing, one of the characters that you play, Charlie Regis. So Josh, you've played as Regis.
Yeah.
Right? So he sounds like a normal dude. Would you say he's from Texas? Does he sound
well,
like
this
he's
is
from
the
Texas?
future, so who knows what the accents are like right
That's true. But then when you put him next to a character who is voice acting a completely different voice, and that voice sounds like the accent sounds a little bit different, and then the whole point of the scene is, you sound like you're from Texas. Yeah, I am. It's like, no, you're not. You're not from Texas.
Well,
you're from a completely different
Yeah,
place.
you're just being a little bit nitpicky.
No, it is.
Knit stories.
It is. but it's like that. Like the writing in this game is really good, and the voice acting in this game is really good, and it is old school style with all of the new innovative storytelling that you could possibly want out of a game like this. And I can't praise this game more. Like, I went in thinking, it's another point and click adventure, and then 10 minutes in, I'm just like, this feels like an old Sierra game, but it's more fun, and I'm having a great time. And you know, there are issues that I personally have. You might not have those issues. There are weird hiccups. The puzzles make you really think. So if you don't like,
I think the puzzles are just.
I think they're
hard enough.
Yeah,
I think they're right and good, because at the end of that first puzzle, like I said, the other puzzles weren't that hard, but that first puzzle was pretty difficult. But it was satisfying once I got out of it.
And that first puzzle did a really good job, except for the fact that it didn't teach me how to right click.
You're just.
They probably assumed you know how to use your mouse.
Yeah. You know what I mean. It's an abstract idea.
Well, you know what else is satisfying?
What's that?
A giveaway.
Giveaway
Time. So if you are lurking in the chat, please sign in, because otherwise you won't be able to participate. For those of you in the chat, the question is, because as we know, we do a trivia question with multiple choice here on Hitbox. The question is for, well, first of all, you're going to win a copy of Technobabylon, so congratulations to the future winner. Question is, this has to do with point and click adventure. The question. What was the last name of the protagonist of the Leisure Suit Larry series of games? The last name of the protagonist. Your options are Lamar, I hope I'm pronouncing these right, Lamar, Laffer, Lonara, or Lode. Lodi.
Are we gonna do a copy for our offline?
Unless you have one. I don't have any other copies.
Oh, okay.
Just this one.
Okay. So sorry, this is a live only.
Yeah.
And if we
more reasons to join the live chat.
Yeah, exactly. You know what else is another reason to join the live chat is the awesome banter that we have before these segments. For those of you who are listening to the recorded version, we're going to be talking and having a great time for the very split second before we go into Peep Show.
Peep Show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
And this week on Peep Show, we have the giveaway finale. Just a reminder for those of you in the 30 seconds we might have been gone, depending on editing. The question was, what was the last name of the protagonist of the Leisure Suit Larry series of games? The options were Lamar, Laffer, Lenara, or Lode. And the correct answer is Laffer. And do we have
Laffer?
The correct answer is Lady. I'm just kidding. Yeah, and the correct answer is Laffer. And the winner is Preposterone. Congratulations, sir. You make out like a bandit on this show.
Yeah, seriously.
I gotta say, you people out there listening to the edit versions, you gotta stop by. One of the goals, by the way, for that I added to the Patreon, if we're able to hit the goal, is to have a weekly giveaway, no matter what.
That's cool.
So, come on, guys.
Yeah. And see, I thought that question was really good. You know, it's like, Leisure Suit Larry. You know, it's like it's sleazy and like having the last name of Lode. You know, Larry Lode. You know, it's a great porn star name. You know, it's great.
Larry Lode. Larry.
That's
Long
not what
Lode.
we're talking about on Peep Show today.
What we're talking about on Peep Show today is a game that has been going for not too long and has already been greenlit and has already met 70% of their funding goal, which is not a tiny amount either. They're asking for $225,000, and as of this recording, they've raised $158,836. This game is by Solarfall Games, a game company out of, I want to say, France. Yeah, out of France.
What is this game's name, sir?
The game's name is Umbra.
There we go.
Umbra.
I'm waiting for it, and you're like, this game, I'm not going to tell you.
I'm peeping it. Come on. So, if you look at it, it's kind of an open world hack and slash. Is really like, imagine God of War or Torchlight 2 combined.
Or Diablo 2.
Yeah, it gets a lot of comparisons to Diablo and Skyrim, like a combination of the two.
I can see that. But it's really kind of an interesting idea. It's all done in CryEngine, so it looks fucking amazing.
Of course,
so good.
But the part that interests me the most is the asymmetrical growth of the character. I mean, the story is kind of your standard that I've encountered so far. Is kind of your standard fantasy world type story. There's a human republic that is corrupt and falling apart, and you happen to have this ability that is super rare, the ability to use magic. And you used to work for the corrupt government, and then they found out that you use magic and they're trying to kill you, and now you are, running all over the world trying to resolve the universe. But the biggest thing for me on this, like I said, is the asymmetric development. They have a really interesting mechanic that, based on your actions in game, you earn certain traits. Kind of like the Fable games.
Yeah.
Kind of along those lines. However, this doesn't apply necessarily directly to you, but to your apocalypse form, which is basically you've just reached this point of absolute rage, and you're like, you know what? No, we're going to slay everything, and you transform into a higher level demon being type deal, and each version is randomized based on the particular actions that you take through the game. It picks 3 of those traits that you develop and builds this form out of those 3 traits. So, at higher levels, once you've gotten a slew of these traits, it'll start to differ out more and more. Really kind of a cool concept. It is Windows and Linux, so Mac, you guys are out, and I don't really care, but you're Mac, so thank you for at least including the Linux group. I haven't been able to find a whole lot on Solarfall. I'll admit I didn't do a super ton of research into this before the show. I've kind of been working a lot. But you have until June 14th. This game looks absolutely amazing.
One thing I'm worried about this, I mean, that's a lot of money, but it kind of makes sense with as much as it's trying to do. I'm
surprised they didn't ask for more.
That, though, is the problem that I'm worried about. It's pretty damn ambitious. I mean, this is a small team.
But
this is a small team, and they're doing a lot. You're talking, I mean, just comparing it to the games, like I said, Skyrim and Diablo, and maybe, like you said, throw Fable in there. The mechanics from all those games, you're talking multi-million-dollar budgets. And thousands of employees.
Here's my biggest concern, and it's part of the reason why I don't feel comfortable backing this project. I don't see a breakdown on what they're planning on using the money for.
Yeah. Hey, Rev, could you move your mic down a little bit?
Sorry, how's that?
Oh, yeah, it's a lot better.
Okay.
Why so picky?
In and out for me. What?
So picky.
I just don't gone over their screen several times now. I don't see.
I mean, they have a lot of information, but
tons and tons of information, and it's all good information. But I do kind of want to get an idea for, hey,
where the money's
this
going.
Huge chunk of it is going to go for art, and this huge chunk is going to go for improving the AI here, or whatever.
You know what's crazy too is that other than the music, they have a 3-person full-time team, and then they have 1, 2, 3, and then they have 5 part-time people working on this game. And
that's what I'm saying. 5 part-time people for all this stuff, man.
Yeah, but to be fair, look at what they have. I mean, I know this is all probably like either like pre-alpha or made
4 years in development.
Yeah, exactly. And look at Solarix.
It has been greenlit too.
It has been greenlit. Like, think about it like this. Solarix was 4 years of development, and they went to Kickstarter, and then they basically punched this game in the face and released it. So I will say that, Rev, you do bring up a good point. I hadn't seen a cost breakdown, which is really common. I mean, like, we even had one of those when we ran our Indiegogo, but I don't know if this is like this game does feel really polished, and I'm using that term like really.
I just don't want it to turn into something that's not going to get finished, just because of the so much scope to do. The scope.
If you
remember Tim Donnelly talking about scope.
Yeah. So if you look at it, it says the estimated delivery for the $9 pledge, which gets you a Steam copy of Umbra, estimated delivery October 2016. So by Kickstarter logic, it's going to come out in a year and a half, possibly 2 years.
Yeah, it's usually a couple years. So on top of the 4 years it's already been going.
Yes. Oh, actually, I lied. I was incorrect with that. Currently, all of those $9 pledges are sold out. You can get the game for $15.
Oh, that was like an early bird special.
Yeah. Sorry, I read that wrong.
What exactly does Umbra mean, by the way?
I don't know.
That's
I think it's just the name of the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Like Skyrim. Okay.
Yeah. And let me tell you, when I looked at this game, I was like, that looks like Diablo, because I didn't play Diablo 1
if Diablo
or 3.
was like amazing looking.
Like if Diablo 2 were amazing looking and then a lot more like fluid in their level design.
Diablo 3 is like that. It's a lot more hack and slash in Diablo 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I looked at this and I'm just like, all right, I can sort of get behind that. The biggest problem, the biggest, issue that I have is, I guess, personal. I'm not huge on open world games that don't have a whole lot of direction to them. Because some of my favorite games of all time would technically be considered open world, but they were very clear as to, hey, you need to pick up
an overarching goal.
Yeah, and that you could be running like 2 or 3 different storylines at once, but it was just like, hey, there's a storyline going on over here, and it's going to take you on like a line of different, quests and missions to do, and then when you're done with that, you might want to check out here, and then now that you've done that and this, it's unlocked a whole nother line, and that was done really well.
Well, they are working on implementing the quest system. I mean, again,
yes.
This is still in development, so it is going to have a build through the story.
In the chat, we now have a definition of Umbra.
Okay.
The fully shaded inner region of a shadow cast by an opaque object, especially the area on the Earth or Moon, experience the total phase of an eclipse. Astronomy, the dark central part of a sunspot, literary shadow or darkness.
And that makes sense because you are one of the only people in this world who can use magic.
There you go.
I don't know why that makes sense, but it makes sense.
There's also shadows in the game.
Yeah. It is a very pretty game. It has shadows. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with it. And with such a relatively low buy-in of $15, and they've already sold almost 2,000 of those. That's a really great thing to have. I'm sorry I stuttered there. They don't seem to have. Do they have their stretch goals listed?
The stretch goals are
a lot of times they don't put those up
Dungeons
until
challenge.
You
can take part of your house and transform it into a dungeon that you build to challenge other players. Another stretch goal is a multiplayer mode,
which is going to be, in my opinion, a necessity.
Yeah, it would be they would be adding the co-op mode as well as a PvP VAI.
And by the way,
player versus player versus AI.
As far as like the breakdown of money goes, we can kind of guess too. I mean, just first of all, the technology they're using probably takes a good chunk. As I know, Cry is now free, but I think isn't there still a version that you can pay for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is I think the one that they're using. It
looks so good.
But they're using
good. They're
using a lot of things. They're using an AI system, so different engines like that. Something for was it Kixel Megascans library? Oh, I guess. Oh, for animations, I guess it is.
Oh, yeah. And sorry, finish that thought.
Character creation pipeline. So for having new. Every time they create a new character, I guess. So it's probably a lot of money going into that, and of course, the living expenses and all that stuff. Yeah,
there is an answer as to why you cannot get this game on a Mac, and that is because CryEngine does not support OS X.
Oh,
damn you,
okay.
Cry!
Yeah. And that's a very clear answer as to that. That's under their FAQ at the very bottom of the page.
But honestly, like the one thing that draws this to me in most part is just it's so beautiful. It really is. Even with my color blindness, like I don't have any problems with any of the footage that I've seen.
It's so beautiful, I think.
Yeah,
I think no, like even with their color schemes that they've gone for, I mean, you can tell they've put a lot of time and effort into making this game look as good as they can. So good on Daniel and Patrick and Simon and the rest of the team for getting this to this point. You've got 22 days as of this recording.
Oh, you better make multiplayer, and if it makes multiplayer, I might just have to buy it. Like, I know it sounds awful, but it's like I had a lot of fun playing games like this, and it also sort of harkens me back to Guild Wars 2, or no, Guild Wars 1. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
And it's just sort of like the way that the world is sort of like laid out and everything, and it's just like this game makes me really happy. Like, I'm just like, yeah, spells and hack and slash and awesome crap, and the orb of health in the bottom corner that's just so. Yeah, I love the idea. I really hope that it succeeds, and I really hope that they don't, I guess, screw everybody over.
You know what's not going to screw everybody over?
A mobile game?
Going mobile.
Oh. Huh?
This week on Going Mobile, we have a game that's also on Steam, but we're doing the mobile version. It is currently only on iOS, so that kind of sucks, but it will be released this summer on Android, which is what we're all looking forward to because fuck iOS.
Yep.
The game is called, as I choke, Fearless Fantasy, which I forgot to change over. Son of a bitch. Someone talk about it.
So, Fearless... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Well, I clicked off of the wrong thing, so now I am totally not ready.
Okay, so you play Leon, a bounty hunter, and your goal, your mission in this game is to kill the weirdest fucking monsters that you can, and rescue a princess from a horrible marriage. So basically, it's Mario, but different.
Like Mario, but will haunt your dreams because as you're seeing if you're looking at the video version, as you see him, as you're seeing on screen, the enemies creep me the fuck out. They're not particularly it's a flower and a couple of, I don't know, radishes or something. I'm not really sure with legs, but they have people faces.
Valley. The Uncanny Valley, really.
Yeah, they have people faces.
This isn't even Uncanny Valley. This is just disturbing.
I don't look at that flower. It looks like it wants to molest you. Come here. It's. I don't like it. That's the very first thing I saw too. Was that the faces on these things? I was like, oh. I believe. You remember? I'm not 100% sure because I didn't play it on mobile because I don't have iOS, but I'm from the looks of it, unless the port is completely different, it's a little bit. Remember how Sorcery's combat system is, where you drag him back and forth?
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit like that, but it's more as you see on the screen, the line going across the screen and all that stuff. I believe that's the person's mouse or something, unless you're playing on iOS. But it's a lot of movement with whatever your cursor is using, or whatever is moving your cursor, I should say. So it's good that it doesn't have the digital controls because, as we know, it's very hard to do games well with those. We have seen few games use digital controls well, and I'm not a huge fan of turn-based combat, but this combat system
makes it more interesting.
It's a lot more interactive with how it's being used with the cursor, and also the pop-up menus. There's not a whole lot of waiting time because that was my biggest problem with turn-based. It's the whole Final Fantasy. Here's another cutscene every single goddamn time. And
the coolest thing too is that especially in a lot of traditional RPGs, there's all right, hit that thing, and there's a percentage chance that it'll miss because the enemy has dodge or something. Whereas this, it's oh, did you move your finger or your mouse wrong? Yeah, you didn't hit the guy.
Yeah.
Which I'm just awesome. It gives you an incentive to actually pay attention to the game.
Not suck.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, timing is important for, like, ranged attacks and stuff.
Like, that flower, I think, is the creepiest, but even that little mushroom or acorn or whatever the hell it is, the face on it, it looks so innocent, but it's so innocent to the point of, like, I'm gonna kill you in your sleep. Yeah. You know? So, I don't like it.
So it is out on Steam, as we said. But it is also it's out on iOS as of like the 14th of this month. It's coming out for Android this summer, and apparently it's been out on Steam for like a year. So
yeah,
mobile version is the port.
And it is by Tiny Build, who are the guys behind.
Well, Tiny Build is publishing it.
Yeah.
It's built by
Enter
Skies.
By the way, just a little bit different, but just with like Tiny Build and a lot of these game developers that came out of nowhere with the publishing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
it throws me off. I'll be honest.
Because Tiny Build, the game they're most known for, I think, is No Time to Explain, which was a successful game. I mean, it was uploaded to Newgrounds originally, and then put on Steam. And I know some of the voice actors in there, or the voice actor, I should say. But it's not. I wouldn't say it was successful enough to start your own publishing company. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It's just, I mean, I guess maybe the people in Tiny Build have connections. Maybe that's what it is. Because I feel like if you become a publisher, you have to have a lot of industry connections. But hey, you know, props to them. Just
Enter Skies. Side note: Enter Skies. This is their first commercial game.
Well, it's pretty solid. I mean,
this reminds me,
creepy as all get out. But
yeah, I want to know what like the people in the game don't look like. You know what I mean? It's like a different art style completely from the monsters. Yeah, it even makes a point of pointing out the monsters are just weird. Was that thing crying?
I don't know.
I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like crocodile tears.
Well, to be fair, it does give you a reason to kill him. It's like, oh, that thing's weird. Kill it.
Yeah, kill it with fire.
Yeah, you know what you don't want to kill with fire?
The end of the show.
The end of the show.
I will kill the end of the show with fire all day, all night.
Yeah,
it's like a spider. Burn the house down.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Exactly how that works.
Buy a new computer. The 50th one that you used or 51st one that you used for episode 51 Indie Game Riot has now been used for the 51st episode of Indie Game Riot. Time to buy a new one.
Yeah, there you go. So this is the end of the show. All good things must come to an end, of course. If you like what we're doing, you want to help us expand and grow, go check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Indie Game Riot. We have a lot of really cool goals and things that if you want to help us get to faster and help us help the indie game community and all that sort of stuff, make Indie Game Riot a much better place than it already is, please consider helping us $1 or more, anything at all kinds of perks and things like that. Just added some stuff to it recently, as I said in the beginning of the show. So thank you very much for your consideration. If you're a game dev or you know someone who is, please consider contacting us, because we might be able to feature your game, or maybe at least write an article about it if it's not on the show or something, because we just want to help. That's all we want to do. You can contact us multiple different ways. First of all, if you are someone who is watching the recorded version, we have a live recording every weekend, every Friday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on hitbox.tv/JaShinYa. And then if you are watching the live version, make sure you go check out the edited version. It's much shorter. If you don't want the banter, if you don't think we're funny, it has all the bumpers and all that sort of stuff in it, so go check that out, indiegameriot.com. You can contact us on Twitter at IGR Podcast and Facebook.com/IGR Podcast, and email us, contact@indiegameriot.com. The website, of course, being... Thank you. No. Not until, well, that reminds you just real quick, again, as a reminder, we are looking for people to help out, writers or anyone with any kind of other talent that might be useful for the website or show, editors, animators, whatever. Also mods, speaking of Reddit, if you have time and you really like what we're doing, you want to help us out a different way, we're looking for all kinds of people to help us out, and also keep an eye out for things to put in our Hall of Fame section, our brand new Hall of Fame on IndieGameRiot.com. Am I missing anything else? No, I think that's it.
Yeah.
So, any last words, Joe?
I don't know, man. I mean, too many games.
Too many games coming up.
Rev, possibly, probably.
It's looking good because he's already got.
I got my time off approved. I've got my transportation out there. I've got As soon as we get confirmation, that I'm okay as a press member for
and we're still waiting on one of those for Jesse as well.
So.
There's not a whole lot of people like dealing with that sort of stuff, so I think they're still working on it because
exactly.
They only just recently put up they did put up, by the way, the list of indie games that are going to be there. They just recently put that up. So,
did they?
And I would imagine
it's 32. 32 games are going to be there, and only 2 of them we have personally interviewed at MagFest. There are a few others that I think we've either talked about or possibly had on the show, or at least talked about. But you can always check that out on TooManyGames.com. We're not paid by Too Many Games or anything like that. Just full disclosure, we're just going there, and we have a panel there. So no monetary incentive for us talking about it. Other than that, we think it's really cool. I will be getting Jesse to film when we all meet for the first time, Rev.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got to take a picture, and that's going right on the website, all 3 of us together. It is.
Yeah.
And keep an eye out if you're going to be at Too Many Games outside of Philly, Oaks, PA.
It's going to be
check out our panel.
It's going to be the only time where you might be able to meet Rev, possibly, if you get there at the right day.
Check out the panel.
I'll be there Friday and Saturday, and that's when I got to head back. We're leaving from Pennsylvania Sunday at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 best days anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm excited. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of things to shake up. Keep an eye out for new things regarding Indie Game Riot website and show.
Make sure Twitter is the best way.
Absolutely. Keep up to date.
You can see our Twitter handles on the screen.
Yep. Say goodbye, Joe.
See you next time, guys.
Have a good one, folks.
Toodles.